Hello and welcome to another episode of Torque King TV. Today we're going to go over the Cad system, what it does, and what you need to check for when you have issues. The central axle disconnect system is basically two separate axle shafts that can be locked together by this sliding hub. It's done by a vacuum shift motor, which is controlled by your transfer case switch. Vacuum comes down from your engine through one of these harnesses, and there's a big rubber plug. Don't know if you can see it very well in the bag. There's a big four-way rubber plug that goes into the switch on the transfer case. And what this switch does is basically vents to one side and routes vacuum to the other side. Engine vacuum comes in one side, and the other two sides, depending on if you're in four-wheel drive or not, it'll either vacuum and vent, or vacuum and vent. From there, it goes to this harness, and this goes down to your front axle, and this end plugs into your vacuum shift motor. Your vacuum shift motor controls the back and forth motion of the shift fork, which rides on this collar. When you start to have issues with this system, there's a lot of things you need to check to figure out exactly what's wrong, and it could be a little of everything. One thing to check is the either bushing or bearing on your inner axle shaft and the bushing or bearing on this side axle shaft. It doesn't take very much wiggle room for one shaft to fall just a little bit from the other one, and then this collar can't slide back and forth. The next thing you want to check is your shift fork. You want to make sure your pads are in good shape. Also, that the hole that the rod goes through is not wobbled out. Also want to check your aluminum housing to make sure it's not wobbled out and causing the shift motor to rock back and forth so it can't move the collar. You also want to check your vacuum harness, the motor end, and also the end that goes on the vacuum switch on your transfer case. After oil sits on them for a couple of years, they get soft and they leak vacuum. Then they don't work. Also, your vacuum shift motor can start to leak vacuum and it not work. The last thing you want to check is the vacuum on your, if you've got a diesel truck, the vacuum on your vacuum pump. If you don't have good vacuum coming out of that, you need to reseal it. When you get new parts, especially the vacuum motors, you always want to check the vacuum on these. I don't know how many we throw away. We throw away 10 times more than we keep because they leak vacuum right out of the box. And I'll demonstrate that with this motor here. You can see this one on one side, we got about 23 or 4 inches of vacuum here. That's about as high as this pump goes. Your truck probably has closer to 30 or 35 inches, but you can see on the one side anyway, this one is good. When you go to the other side, it leaks. If you use one of these, all you're doing is sucking in dirt and water that's going through your entire vacuum system and pretty much ruining everything, and you got to start over again. This particular one only leaks from one side. I'm going to guess it's something to do with the crimp. Most of the ones we've gotten, they leak both sides, something to do with the diaphragm didn't seal, and you want to check them back and forth a couple times. I've had some I had to run both sides 2 or 3 times, and on the last time it finally started leaking. So you want to make sure that these don't leak right out of the box. Something else you want to check for if you've got, if you order a cheaper imported kit, I don't know if you can see real good, but the fork pads it comes with, they don't really have any teeth on them to hold them on the shift fork. On a cast shift fork, you can see the little groove milled out there for those teeth to sit in. On the cast, they are a lot tighter fit. These imported ones might work, but chances are they're going to fall off when you go to install it. However, the OEM fork pad, you can see the teeth on it to hold it on the pad. They should clip on real nice. We actually have to heat a lot of them with a heat gun just a little bit and then snap them on with a pair of pliers. They should never go on with just your fingers on a cast fork. Aluminum fork, however, it's all, nothing's machined on it. These will fall right off. Imported ones will just fall off. They're garbage. These ones on an aluminum fork, you can push them on by hand, but they're going to hold on a lot better. Also, with the imported vacuum kits you can get online, the gaskets they come with, this is the older style. We still have some laying around. There's no rubber, it's just 100% cork, where here's the newer imported gasket. It's got some rubber in it, but the same, it uses the same tin. It's a metal sign that you'd find at a dollar store or something, and they just recycled them. Something didn't make the grade. This one's got a scrape in it. I just picked the cork off with my fingers and it had this scrape in it. So the rejects of the signs you get at the dollar store are what they're using for the shims in these. And the stamping, I don't know if you can see that, it pulled and it's just not flat. Plus the material, I mean, look at that. Same with this one. Rubber's a little better, but the metal just kinks because where it's folded over from when they stamped it out. Just garbage. OEM shim gaskets, what you want. You can barely see the shim in there. It's nice and flat, just the way it's supposed to be. Most kits you buy also don't come with all the snap rings. There's that snap ring there to hold the motor in the housing, and there's this snap ring, or C-clip rather, but there's no C-clip in the kit to hold your shift fork on. Also with this particular kit, there was no O-ring to seal it. There are other kits you can get that may have the O-ring. They're still missing one snap ring for whatever reason. I guess you reuse your old one, hope you don't bend it trying to get it off, or hope it don't go flying across the shop or the driveway or wherever you're doing service. So every kit that we sell, the motor's been tested a couple of times. We also include thread locker. Your O-ring is pre-installed. It's got the good fork pads. It's got all 3 snap rings. One snap ring's already installed. Here's your other 2. And the good gasket. One last thing we include that I've never seen in any other kit is the OEM style crimp clamp. I've actually never seen a kit with the clamp, with the 3rd C-clip, and with the thread locker. You can also test your transfer case vacuum switch with the same type of tool, and also the vacuum harnesses with some different attachments. You can plug one end and plug this end into the other side, and make sure you don't have any leaks in the hose. The hoses are usually pretty good. It's just the rubber ends on the vacuum harnesses that start to, they get oil in them and they start to leak. If you have any questions on today's video, feel free to contact us. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time right here on Torque King TV.